Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming. This afternoon, we would like to introduce this company, CMA, and we'd like to talk about how media design influences the environment and basically how we've generated a range of new medias to meet market demands. Okay, one of the things about design is functionality. From a sales perspective, you always come up with a great concept, and sometimes when you come up with a great concept, you actually need someone behind you to actually deliver the product that you're talking about. So that fully illustrates my view in the marketplace and what I try and do. And then I have someone behind me actually trying to make sense of the chaos that I've created. Most people don't know much about CMA, but what we want to do at this particular conference is to explain a little bit more about what we are, what we do, and how we design media with the environment in mind, with quality in mind, and how paper is never, or any base substrate is never considered a color, but how the base substrate really does affect how print is looking. There's plenty of times when you've wandered through stores and you've seen one print, it's exactly the same, but it looks a completely different color, and that's down to the base substrate it's printed on, or maybe even the lighting that's behind it. And most people forget the fact that a piece of paper actually also has a color to it, and that does impact print as well. So one of the things we try and do is manage the content of the base substrate as well. Okay, about the presentation today, we want to introduce CMA because not many people may know about us. We want to talk about how we do things in the marketplace, how we've developed some new products for the marketplace, and basically what we're trying to do going forward with innovative design of media. Okay, CMA was founded in 2006, and we're a group of color specialists. My background is wide format. I joined the company after we were part of Ilford Imaging, and Ilford Imaging sadly went bankrupt with a lot of heritage. Pierre-Alain was a media designer at Ilford for over 25 years, and today we've taken the company back into private ownership. We're a global company, and we have numerous partnerships with people like Hewlett-Packard, Xerox, and Roland, and we're basically bringing color management across the globe. We're members of a number of different certified bodies, and we also, one of the things we're most proud about is our reforest action. So every time someone buys a roll of media from us, we replant a tree because the environment is very core to our beliefs, and some of the media designs that we're doing at the moment have the environment firmly in mind. Okay, one of the things we're working on is we're trying to basically bring the world of color management into brands and interacting with brands across sign and display. What we're doing with that is we're basically creating a range of media, creating the color content, working with a partner of Roland, and taking that concept and stretching it across the world. We have numerous bits of software for packaging, sign and display, and we're trying to reduce the complexity of color management and try and make it simple so anybody can understand it. Next one. So one of the things that we're trying to work on as well is how we take the substrate and how we design media with the environment in mind, and take some of that proofing background that we have and move it into the wide format industry. Also what we do, we don't only make our own media, we also use a consulting. So Pierre-Alain heads up our consulting division, and we work with some of our competitors to design new concepts and new media. Okay, one of the things that we think in the industry we have a problem with is that the proofing industry is actually a declining market. And if you take the world of proofing and the world of color management, there has to be something that changes. So everyone's talking about PDAs and cell phones and basically using pictures. So the photographic industry is going slightly backwards, but we see a huge market turning around in on-demand printing, packaging, and what we're trying to do is to look at existing products that are in the marketplace, change them, come up with eco-solutions for it. And one of the things that we'll be talking about later on is our new Duratran product that we've worked with HP and a number of brands to produce a recyclable Duratran. Okay, so one of the things that I want to talk about, and I'll get Pierre-Alain to discuss it in a little bit more detail, is actually what makes a media recyclable and how we came around to delivering the Perfect Trans product. Pierre-Alain.
Yeah, in the lab, you have a lot of concepts to develop an environmental media conception. You can start with a base, use no vinyl but polyethylene. You can have recycled content in the base. You can use a photo paper base with FSC pulp. Yeah. You can have photo base and of high quality, but with recyclability which is questionable. Layer design, or also consider the printing energy. But at the end, unfortunately, every measure you take to improve eco-compatibility of a media will have an impact of the end customer, on cost, on performance, on quality, etc. So CMA has a range of recycled media to replace backlit film, Duratrans, to replace photo paper, and even to replace self-adhesive vinyl by latex, white polypropylene media.
Okay, so what happened with this particular project? And I don't know whether people can see it here, but we were asked to develop an eco-friendly alternative to the Kodak Duratran and the old RA4 process. We were contacted by the Clarence Fragrant Group, and one of their marketing managers felt very strongly about the environment. And she came up to us at one of the shows. It was a FESPA about 5 years ago, and said, "I spend a lot of money on a point of sale. And one of the big issues is when I want to throw away my photographic Duratran, I can't throw it, I can't recycle it. Can anybody come up with something?" So it's taken us quite a long time to get all the processes and all the coatings together, but we've eventually come up with a fully PET recyclable Duratran alternative. With the latest latex, we have the levels of gloss, we have the right look and feel for a Duratran, because Kodak did such a good job many years ago when they specified Duratrans and got the world to specify Duratran. That is the quality that needs to be adopted. A number of other people have manufactured similar products to this, but basically it's not using the same technology, so they may be using like a UV or a solvent. It doesn't feel like a Duratran, and what they've tried to do is sell an alternative but cheaper product into the marketplace. So we looked at it, we analysed what the market was, we worked closely with Hewlett-Packard, we've just signed an agreement with Hewlett-Packard, and now we have a fully recyclable alternative to a Duratran. And within that, what we've also done is a range of recyclable paper. Not many people really understand the fact that when you talk about inkjet paper, because they think it's paper, they think you can recycle it and you can throw it into a normal waste stream. You can't. It's got a PE coating on it, which means you just can't recycle it in the normal manner. So we've developed, in conjunction with the Perfect Trans, we've done a range of different media as well. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So why did we choose latex and why did we work with the latex? Pierre-Alain will discuss that.
So the new latex printer are eco-friendly. So they are designed with water-based latex inks and no chemicals, no flammables. And they are using components which are beneficial for the environment. Okay.
That's true. If you keep going through, we put on some photographic facts about waste, which was one of the things we were asked to look at. And if you scroll through those, you can see the different acts.
When you start with Duratrans is a photographic material, so there is a heavy photographic chemistry you have to go through. So heavy metals is a concern, silver contents, and alternative materials, not resin-coated, chlorine-free. So that's all facts that are beneficial with our technology versus photography. Also, we looked at what we call eco-friendly charts. I don't want to go through all details of that, but from 100% cotton grade paper up to polyester. So there is ranking on ecology. The recycling is also important with polyester or high-density polyethylene. It's all components that we are making use. We are thinking about. Okay. Ink saving. That's
yes,
for you, my
so
friend.
when we look at media and we look at development and we look at color management, we don't just focus on the substrate. So one of the solutions that we have is over our color cloud concept, where you can generate a profile over the web. And within that ink saving mode that we have in there, you can save between 15 and 20% of ink. So when we look at designing a media, what we have to make sure is that if we're using an ink saving module or doing any form of color management, that the media can take and still deliver the same quality. Even though we're looking at using less ink going down, we still need the vibrancy of color. We still need to make sure that the machines can optimize the color gamut that the designer has in mind. So built into our software, we automatically have ink saving, but it's not ink reduction, it's pure ink saving. So you save ink, but you don't have any quality loss. And we also, whenever we design media, we have that in the background as well, so that people are going to want to save money on inks and maybe save money on some of the media and be more environmentally friendly. We'd like to go through a little bit more about some of the media design, Pierre.
Yes, and now let's go inside the media design, because that's my background, and to see how nanotechnology can enable image drying performance, image quality, etc., etc. And I think it's interesting for you who are end user to see what's inside a material. When you design a material, there is key product requirements, show the look and feel, the buzz quality, that's eco-friendly base or not, the lay flat, the curling, all the properties that you don't even imagine when you buy a media. Feeding accuracy, you feed a media, it's okay, but there is a work behind that, there is a design. Making an accuracy of a delta E below 1 for proofing material or below 3 for photographic paper. So there is a quality, a work on that. And at the end, what you see at the end is color space, the instant drying, is that good, not good, is that slow, over-inking, blotchy build-up, matting, bronzing, print quality and consistency, that's all properties that are achieved with this complicated media design. So if you look really inside the media, you see it's a multitude of, it's an high-tech assembly of 5 to 8 layers. And the technology is very depending to the manufacturer. So myself, I was in a manufacturing plant and I made this kind of job for 20 years. So we can design really the type of media that the end customer wants. You start with the base. The base is not simply something to put the layer on it. There is quite a clever function. Start with the mechanical properties, the stiffness, the lay flat. Does it curl with the temperature, with the humidity? The visual aspects, you have photo paper which have embossed base. They are matte, semi-matte, satin, glossy. Cockling is also important. Following the base, that means cockling is a deformation with the ink when you print high ink loads. And titanium dioxide in the PE layer to control the fluorescence, to make the reflection, to make the brightness of a photo paper. The white points, the question now with the new standards, what do you do with the OBA? Where do you put it? Where do you stabilize it? You put it in the layer, in the white PE resin, in the base, etc. The printing performance, so that's a lot of technology inside the printing performance from the top layer, so that the first surface would catch the drops, and after you have to suck the ink vehicles, etc., etc. And over-inking control, absorption speed, ink limits, dry to touch, the bronzing, the gloss loss, etc. So there is a lot of properties made in the base by designer. So the interface I mentioned, that's really the first part was heated by the drop during the printing process, and there is a lot of drops per second on this media. The property, the chemistry of the bulk, so the chemist and the engineer worked on the nanotechnology of layers, and here I've shown different particles here. That's really particles, small particles inside, very small is here, 25 nanometers. And just to give you a size here, 10 nanometers is about 10,000 times smaller than air, my air, not this air, my air. Okay, so it's really nanotechnology, and it's so small that the light do not interact with those particles, and they are virtually crystal clear and transparent, because they are so 1,000 times smaller than the wavelengths of the light. Okay, here, for example, with what you can do with all this chemistry, you can improve the gamuts. Why is that important for photographer? So with the same printing condition, you can have an extending curve on an inkjet material and a photo paper. So you print your grayscale and you have more density, 2.6 instead of 2.1, with the same ink amount, with the same printer, but just by changing the material, by tuning this chemistry inside here. And this chemistry is also quite responsible for stability. Here I put an example of ozone fading and resistance. If you print with a dye printer, 60 ppmh, that's about equivalent of 1 year ozone in a normal environment. So you see instability. It's also responsible for feathering, coalescence, problem of absorption, etc. So nanotechnology give you quite a lot of new properties that you even don't know they exist. You buy a material, you print, that's it. And here, for example, two materials from two different competitors. You print the same pigments from Epson. You print here and you smudge after 1 minute, or here you smudge after 1 minute. One is removed from the layer, and one is adhering on the interface. So everything given by a lot of chemistry at this side. Effect on gamuts, sharpness of the drops, etc., etc. So also optical effects, not going into detail. When you print different color, you certainly saw that with a pigment printer. You print a blue, it's coming matte. You print yellow, it's coming glossy. And it's very disturbing on an image to have a blue matte part of the image and some glossy part of the image. So you can really, with the same printer, influence by the media design. Stability is very important for some factor, especially in the proofing. That's similar to foie gras test. There is a light test, humidity, light, humid, and temperature, high temperature. And here you measure the change in detail of everything, and you see there is some material which have 6 times more change. So not, maybe the material looks equal, but they may be different after aging, after treatment, etc. Okay, same thing in a real environment. In a computer to plate press room, there is chemicals in the vapor which make the media yellow. We had an interesting case study with a customer, so we are working very close to our customer. We try to understand them, and that's the case. We developed FOGRA 51 media, before the 450 standard was even developed. And you know that's my part?
Yeah, so we had a customer in the States, and basically the proofing paper in the US, they wanted to make sure that they had 39 proofing papers, and they wanted to reduce that to a manageable number. They are the biggest selling proofing or offset sheet in the United States, and they asked us to develop a paper. So we manufactured a paper that hit a certain white point from a lot of data that they gave us. And if you go forward, you can see some of the data that we had to hit. So we gathered up 39 different papers, we scanned them, we analyzed them, we worked and listened to what the customer said to us, and we ended up generating a paper that hit the GRACOL 2013 standard. But also, that paved the way for some of the things in the FOGRA 51. So what you're going to see globalization-wise is you're going to see a uniformity on proofing papers across the globe. Previously, the American paper was more yellow and the European standard was slightly blue, and now you're seeing that merge together and having a more bluish paper tint, which means that you're going to get a proof that you can hit on both sides of the Atlantic, which is pretty important. But that's a simplified version of what took probably around about 18 months on a lot of this man's brain power to do.
Here is an example of all this, the study we made here. And we have selected a US offset paper, and you see typical name. Probably you use, if you're a printer, you know the Stirling, the McCoy, Williamsburg, Somerset, Carolina, Endurance paper. And you see in the B value and brightness, they look the same, but they are practically very different, and they are very blue and very bright, and the blue is going from with this paper -4 to even -11. So what we did analyzing that, we propose a range of paper in this direction here, which can reproduce all this paper, which traditional FOGRA 39 paper are unable to do here, and even FE or match print type, etc. And with only 2 or 3 papers, you can really match and simulate with the background printing most your American offset paper white points. Okay.
So within that, we came up with a range of 3 stocks to help the customer reduce his SKUs from 40, or I think it was 39, down to 3 SKUs, which helped them rationalize their supply chain, save them money on distribution. It also managed that they could manage their supply base and give their customers greater variety by hitting a bigger color space. In conjunction with that, what we also did is we helped them with their color management software, and we built the color content into this color management. So basically, they then could sell that solution to the customer. So it was a nice, easy transition from some of the old stocks they had with color management, with the software, into one simple solution, which again helped the customers as well. So in summary, just to quickly wrap up about us, as I say, we generate a whole host of information for our customers. We help them work across different areas, so with the sign and display, whether it be some of the complex color management, whether it be contact proofing and packaging. We have solutions that meet all the sort of things that people are asking us to do, and we try and move this together with a bit of innovative design, try and listen to what the customers have to say to us, and try and design media that's right for the future, not the historical side of things. So just wanted to share some of the things that we're doing from an ecological point of view, and hopefully it's been of interest to you, and thank you very much for listening.